No way! We have to talk about it!
It was awesome!
Wasn't it awesome?
It was totally awesome!
Hug me!
Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Kia ora, Bolt fam. It's the director. Chargers fans. While the director is away, the Chargers will play. The Chargers made 2 huge moves over my birthday week. And I just have to talk about it, man. We got to talk about this, dude. I was away. I was like, oh my God, I want to get on and make a video about this right now. Here we are today talking about Kyle Van Noy and Bryce Callahan coming to the Chargers. This is some seriously aggressive offseason movement by Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley. Some big, I would say honestly, like upper tier players added to the roster that might be flying under the radar for some, because let's be honest, yeah, Callahan and Van Noy were once dominant. Maybe not so much anymore, but they still are amazing and have a lot to offer, especially in the roles that they're going to be given with the Chargers in 2022. Both these players are going to play a serious role. I do think that there are plans for them, both of them being on 1-year contracts where they're going to get plenty of playing time in 2022 in order to help contribute to this already beastly looking defense. And honestly, moves like these are very telling of the Chargers' view on their playoff hopes this season. We're going to talk a little bit more about what that means going into the new season this year. Bryce Callahan, Kyle Van Noy, 2 very nice players added to this roster via depth or otherwise. So before we do get started, guys, question in the comments like we always do. Bryce Callahan is definitely very interesting in terms of what he could do this season. So my question to you guys is Callahan or Mike Davis? Who do you think wins the Chargers cornerback 3 role? Hintity hint hint. I might have an idea of that going into the video. Before we do get started, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into it, baby. Lights, camera, action. Kyle Van Noy and Bryce Callahan, the newest Chargers on this roster, and 2 that could honestly help the Chargers' already amazing defense get that much better. Let's start off here with Bryce Callahan, man. The Callahan Cavalry has arrived. Now, a big reason this signing is amazing, dudes. Okay, so first off, there's a big concern for Chargers fans, in terms of what our cornerback depth is going to look like, right? We added rookies via the NFL draft, and now we signed a very capable vet. This is something that I thought was definitely going to happen, maybe for a lesser talent, though, I'll be honest. Of course, there was connections with Callahan, even Kyle Fuller, in that Vic Fangio system, but we definitely got a nice one here with the Chargers in Callahan, which, again, could provide some, immediate value. I'm saying, like, starting, snaps and stuff like that this season right away. This puts the Chargers' top 4 cornerbacks at the position at J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr., Mike Davis, and now Bryce Callahan. If I'm being honest, dudes, that's very impressive. That's a Madden franchise lineup right there. And honestly, it's pretty lethal when you really think about how the Chargers want to use their defensive backs in 2022 in terms of scheme and system for Brandon Staley. This gives the Chargers a decently deep cornerback position, and certainly that room has looked, worse in plenty of years previous, but this is definitely looking very, very nice for the Bolts going on this season. What's even more impressive, again, is how big Callahan and this signing could be immediately towards the Chargers, their starters, and what they want to do in 2022. Among free agent corners, like I said before, Callahan is one of the very best fits that you are going to find in free agency. Okay, again, born in the Fangio system. You merely survived or lived in it. I was born into the Vic Fangio system, is what Callahan would say, man. And yes, Coach Staley did coach him in Chicago as well as in Denver. This man is just made for the Los Angeles Chargers in this season. And more importantly, we need to ask ourselves what Callahan's role is going to be for the Los Angeles Chargers in 2022. Very, very immediate. Callahan is a very impressive corner, right? And I think he's proven this over the course of his very impressive career, right? He's specifically, however, suited to the slot role on any given defense. This man has been one of the more consistent and talented slot corners in the entire NFL. And as for the Chargers and their plan, I think previous it was to start Asante Samuel Jr. at that position in the slot role with maybe Michael Davis on the outside, and then of course J.C. Jackson being your cornerback one, right? This signing, right? I mean that could still be the case, right? But again, this signing, I don't know. I think we're going to see a little bit more of Callahan than we previously thought. Because when I first saw this, I was like, great, we got some great depth. And then I thought about it a little more, and I was like, you know what? We might actually see some nice play from Callahan in the slot throughout the year immediately. Maybe even over other guys on this roster. Okay? And again, I think Asante Samuel Jr. may have been the plan as far as the slot cornerback this season, and he's been proven to be more than capable on the outside as well. I would say maybe even better than Michael Davis, but there is a plan here, right? This is where I feel the Chargers' best lineup exists, okay? I think cornerback 1, you're looking at J.C. Jackson. Cornerback 2, you're looking at Asante Samuel Jr. And then that cornerback 3/slot role, I think could definitely go to Bryce Callahan. And then maybe Michael Davis at cornerback 4. Bryce Callahan will challenge for snaps this season, okay? He will be competing to get more time, and I do think the Chargers signed him with giving him time in that slot role, already, even before he inked his contract. And this may also be, Michael Davis. This may also be an indicator that he might get bumped down in terms of, that roster spot. And I do think in the end, this might be a good thing for the Chargers, but it doesn't end there, okay? Because Bryce Callahan, let's say he is our slot cornerback going into this year, right? Callahan, dude, even being as dominant as he is in that position, can play on the outside at a high level too when he has been on the field. We'll get to that in just a second. And in this lies the beautiful reality of ultimate flexibility. Okay, yeah, we all like ourselves some flexibility. Specifically, the head coach of the Chargers, Brandon Staley, having that versatility and flexibility, hugely valuable if you know how to use it, right? And if you look at the Chargers corners this season, it's really quite impressive what Staley has done. Every single corner on this roster can play anywhere, and this will keep opposing teams on their toes. JC has proven to be lethal in the slot. We know this already. JC Jackson, one of the best in the NFL. Asante Samuel Jr., very good in the slot. And now you've got Callahan, who is also great in the slot. That's his bread and butter. The theme of versatility continues with the Chargers going on in, even past the draft right now, and it's really a big brain strategy, okay? But the biggest downside we do have to talk about with Bryce Callahan is, the topic of injury. The best ability is availability. And now here lies the issue with Callahan. He's been injured a lot. As a matter of fact, I don't think Callahan has ever played a full season, ever. He missed 6 games in 2021 last season. He missed 6 in 2020. And he missed all of 2019. As talented as Callahan is, and as big as of a difference maker that he can be, he really has struggled to stay on the field and stay healthy. And this is a concern. As I don't think we can't fully realistically expect him to play 17 games this season. I don't think we can fully expect that from him. However, it would be a bigger concern if the Chargers weren't now, we could even say, deep at the position. If Callahan at any point of the season goes down, we can expect a few shifts, okay? So again, I would say the best assembly line of the cornerbacks would be Jackson, Samuel, then Bryce Callahan at cornerback 3 slot, and then Michael Davis. And if he were to go down at any point in the season, there would be some shifts, right? JC and Asante Samuel Jr. would likely handle slot duties, right? More than likely it would be Asante Samuel. I think that was the plan going into the year, right? Maybe even, some time for Derwin James and JT Woods, the new rookie. And then you could insert Michael Davis on the outside and the opposite side, right? That's the beauty of this Callahan signing, is that this does create some immediate depth for the Chargers. And Davis, I will admit, had a bad year in 2021, no doubt about that. But he's shown that he can be a capable cornerback too in years past. And I think, with a lot of the extra help he's about to get on this defense, he really could return to that level of play. Davis's size, speed, it will be utilized this year, all right? He is unique in that aspect. I don't think he's going to be completely pushed out of the Chargers' defensive plans this season. And this is why the Callahan signing makes even more sense to me, right? Even given his injury history. Callahan does not need to play 100% of snaps for the Chargers. We will likely see from the Chargers system and the Chargers defense this year a hybrid of all of these corners throughout the season. We could see, ASJ at cornerback 1 and JC in the slot. We could see a number of different things, especially when you do throw in a Bryce Callahan if he does remain healthy more often than not. Callahan and Mike Davis, very specifically, could very well share duties, as the team's, cornerback 3 or slot and cornerback 4, thus giving the Chargers a better chance at keeping him healthy. So what that means is that you're probably going to see a lot of Michael Davis this season too, which means Callahan, it's going to lower the chances that he does go down at any point this year. It's not going to guarantee it. I would still fully expect, some concerns in that department if you are the Chargers, coaching staff, but at the same time, it does lesser the risk a little bit, right? And I do think, additionally, if Callahan does go down, I do believe Michael Davis can handle the role. Okay, so that depth is certainly going to be valuable going into this season. Hopefully Callahan can play his first full season in his career. I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it doesn't, then definitely Michael Davis can step in. Because as incredible as the Chargers defensive backs look right now, they will look even better due to other aspects of this defense, like I mentioned before. If Michael Davis does have to step in, there is reason to believe that he's going to have some help. I do think the pass rush, right? And we've talked a lot about this. The pass rush is going to help this unit a lot in terms of defensive backs, right? And that includes Michael Davis. Bosa and Mack, and now Van Noy, who we're going to get to in just a second, should provide a consistent and lethal rush, allowing our defensive backs more opportunities for interceptions and less time in coverage. This is a huge thing, dude. Staley, this guy's a mad scientist, right? He really has created the perfect storm for opposing offenses. This man is a genius. So Bryce Callahan, his contributions to the season this year and his contributions to the defense this season is going to be impressive. I think it is going to be felt. And at bare minimum, the Chargers are looking a lot better in terms of depth of that defensive back unit, right? With JT Woods, the signings, of course, JC Jackson, et cetera, now Bryce Callahan, and then, of course, the rookie DBs that we did sign in the draft as well. It's looking very, very nice out there. But of course, this isn't the only move that the Chargers have made in the past couple of days. Okay, so Bryce Callahan, be excited, man. I think he's going to bring a lot to the table in terms of coverage, in terms of, play from the slot position, even pass rush, run defense. This man really does it all from the slot position. Very, very nice player. If he can stay healthy, the Chargers, honestly, those cornerbacks look absolutely ridiculous. But like I said, it wasn't the only move that they made over this week, okay? Van Noy down by the rivers. Bad pun, great player, okay? I think this is going to go under the radar, right? For now, until we do see what he's going to be offering the Chargers this season. Because again, these guys signing one-year contracts, there's a plan for them to contribute right away. And I don't know if it's just as a depth guy. When it comes to big brain moves, this is definitely among the most impressive to me this offseason, right? Of course, it's not going to be as big as Khalil Mack or JC, but it's a very big brain, impressive strategy that Brandon Staley is utilizing. Because the Chargers were still lacking a little bit of depth at a few positions after the draft. That being linebacker and edge. Of course, corner was one of them, taken care of with Bryce Callahan. And guess what? When it comes to linebacker and edge, the Chargers just addressed both with one signing in Kyle Van Noy. And this is because Kyle Van Noy, at least to me, is considered a hybrid linebacker / edge. Okay? What's more impressive is that Van Noy is pretty dang decent at both positions. And what's even more impressive is how he fits our needs specifically in this system. Kyle Van Noy, well above average in terms of coverage. That is what the Chargers need at inside linebacker, right? He scored a wild 84.3 grade on PFF last season. This man is very decent at coverage. I think he actually logged a pick, maybe even a touchdown very recently in coverage over the middle. Very, very nice in coverage. And of course, that's kind of the direction that the Chargers are going. They want more DBs on the field. And I do think they're going to ask a lot of their linebackers in terms of pass coverage. And Kyle Van Noy is proven, all right? This leads me to believe that we may see a decent amount of snaps for Kyle Van Noy at inside linebacker this year. I think the Chargers have plans for Van Noy in a couple of different positions. Now, sure, we got Drew Tranquill and Kenneth Murray. Those guys look pretty decent, but now the position looks a lot better, right? Because both of those guys have suffered some injury concerns, some little red flags here and there. Kyle Van Noy does help give us a little bit of insurance at inside linebacker. Now, what about, the pass coverage looks great. What about pass rushing, defending the run? He also looks great in that, man. This dude's stats, man. 191 tackles, 17 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, and 22 tackles for loss over the last 3 seasons. Wow. Now, a lot of people will point out that a good number of those were in 2019. Of course, that is the case. But even last season, Van Noy had a solid performance. I think something like 5 sacks. Very, very nice. Certainly an upgrade over Kyler Fackrell of last season. Now, where Kyle Van Noy's role will likely exist with the Chargers will be a rotational outside linebacker or edge player. He was mainly deployed as an edge for the Patriots last year, and this does solve a big issue. Chargers fans were a little bit concerned of what we're going to do at linebacker, what are we going to do at, edge 3. This solves a couple of big issues in one signing. Because while Bosa or Mack are taking a breather on the sidelines, the pass rush should remain pretty lethal. Because more than likely, you're going to have Bosa or Mack on one side, and in the event somebody has to come out, you're going to be able to keep up the heat with a Kyle Van Noy on the opposite side. And this is a big upgrade, again, like I said, over the Chargers' last edge 3 in Kyler Fackrell, for several reasons. A biggest one being, again, his position versatility, which, again, is a huge, huge staple and kind of theme song and slogan of Brandon Staley exists in a guy like Kyle Van Noy. It's a move that greatly affects every level of the defense, like we always said, dudes. We say this all the time when it comes to trench players, especially, right? If you can, and we'll talk about Kyle Van Noy specifically, right? If you can add that extra heat and the consistency that you're going to get in that pass rush, it is going to help your linebackers. It's going to help your, coverage guys, your defensive backs. Every single level is going to be affected by this, and more importantly, the consistency in those pass rushes is going to be felt very, very much so by the opposing offenses. And that is really, really nice. The Chargers pass rush could be one of the most consistent and lethal in the NFL this season. And Van Noy, who's now 30 years old, in my opinion, was one of the best moves the Chargers could have made to bolster our depth, especially considering how much we spent. Okay, the Chargers did make some big moves. We spent a lot of money. And that's going to take me to my last topic here, right? At what cost, Tom? At what cost to bring these guys in and help shore up this defense? And this is probably the first thing that I'm asked every single time the Chargers do sign a new name. How much does it cost the Chargers? Well, last time I checked, the Chargers had around $18 million in cap space and $9.4 million in spending space. And this is via Daniel Popper on Twitter. If you guys haven't checked him out, definitely go hit him up with a follow. Now, $9.4 million is a lot of money still left over, right? Especially when you're talking about guys like Kyle Van Noy and Bryce Callahan. And that's plenty of money to cover both these players, and then maybe some if the Chargers decide to do something extra, right? Because as a reminder, the Chargers may look to spend, more via their season budget. Because a lot of those numbers, let's say 18 million, is like, why do we only have $9.4 million available? It's because the Chargers tend to save around $7 million for in-season emergency spending. If they don't use it, it usually rolls on over to the next year. Well, the Chargers this year, who've been very aggressive, may elect to actually use that $7 million before the season, right? And that would free up $7 million, and more on that in just a second. Now, we currently don't know the contract details for either player down to a specific number, right? But I do have an idea of what Callahan and Van Noy could have, cost the Chargers coming into the team. Per PFF, Bryce Callahan was projected a 2-year, $10 million contract at around $5 million a year. And I could definitely see that. And of course, Callahan was signed, just a 1-year deal with the Chargers. I would expect that number to be in the range of $5 million, maybe less. Sometimes players, that have been cut, or sometimes players that have injury flags or concerns do sign for quite a bit less. And this could be one of the cases. I think there's a chance that Bryce Callahan could have signed for a couple $1 million. You never know. But I would say in the range of $5 million is what I'm going to guess, right? And then there's Kyle Van Noy, who, again, also signed a $1 million deal. Previously, Van Noy signed a 2-year, $12 million deal with New England before getting cut and now signing with the Chargers. And again, I view his deal to be pretty close to what Callahan's is, okay? And again, it could be less. So I'd have to guess that it'd be in the range of a 1-year, $5 million contract. And that's going to be my guess for both of them. And it could certainly be less in both cases because there is evidence to suggest that you could definitely get that number a little bit lower, okay? And this would put the Chargers at around $8 million left in cap space total and effectively soaks up all of our safe spending space, right? But like I said before, the Chargers are being aggressive this year, which may mean that their offseason budget is still on the table to use right now. And in the event of emergency, let's say they don't have an in-season budget, and they do run into an issue, you have Bosa's restructure in your back pocket. If you really are making a nice push at the Super Bowl and into the postseason, you could restructure Bosa and add some help if absolutely necessary. And I think the Chargers, being that they do still have cap available, might have one more move up their sleeve. And of course, we're talking about right tackle. It's been stated and heavily rumored that the Bolts could add a veteran right tackle sometime very soon. And this would definitely be the cherry on top to this entire offseason for me. My guess is that they have guys like Riley Reef, Darrell Williams, Dennis Kelly, on speed dial, on their radar, trying to get another guy in there to compete for right tackle. And of course, I do have to remind you guys, the Chargers do have options in-house for right tackle as we speak, whether it be a Fool or a Filer. They do have Sawyer in there too. They do have options if they choose to go that route, but I do think they're going to sign one more guy, and it's going to be a right tackle. And shoring up the right tackle position would give us one of the most complete Chargers teams that I've ever seen. So that would be very, very nice. Lastly, I want to say and wrap this video up with, this is a very telling move, and this is something I think a lot of Chargers fans are starting to recognize, myself included. Short and simple, the Chargers are about to make a run, okay? We know this. These moves are very evident that they believe that this team is going to make it very far into the postseason this year. Every move that we've witnessed this offseason is proof of that. Mac, JC, the reshoring up that defensive line, using your draft capital to reshore up that offensive line, et cetera, et cetera. These moves are among the most telling. But I do think that these veteran moves also heavily signify that the Chargers believe that this is going to be the year. By signing proven veterans who can and will contribute this season to one-year deals, shows me that they're very serious about the postseason this year for the Bolts. And honestly, it's hard to argue with that. Staley has officially worked his magic with this team. The offense, has been shored up on the offensive line. Mike Williams was retained. Gerald Everett was signed. The power run vastly upgraded with guys like Isaiah Spiller and Vander Horvath. Looks very nice to me, right? And that offense too, guys, you have to remember, it put up top 5 numbers last season. They're set up to run it back in 2022. But the defense, man, the defense. Let's take a look at the defense. I can't even tell you how impressed I am at its transformation, especially in just one season. Every level has been upgraded and bolstered in some way, shape, or form. Okay? This season has officially been set up to be one of the most exciting that we've ever seen. And these moves, albeit small in terms of Van Noy and Callahan, albeit small on the surface, are very telling of how far this team expects to go. And as I said before, guys, the moves on this team, the starters and stuff like that. We'll go back to the offense for just here a second. Offensive line is one of the best I've ever seen as a Chargers fan. You could absolutely slate, Jamari Sawyer or Matt Filer in at right tackle. They would look great this season. The offense, more or less the same as far as receivers outside of Gerald Everett, who does add some yards after the catch potential. But the power run on the bottom of the screen right there is something I do think the Chargers were heavily focused on, and they got some players to make that happen. Not just with the backs, but also with the offensive line. And back to the defense, which is one of the more impressive aspects of this entire offseason. You're adding a lot of depth, right? Jasir Taylor, Dean Leonard, those DBs look great. Of course, JT Woods, you can see the rookies behind the starters here on this graphic. But again, like I said, Bryce Callahan to me is one of those guys I do think that was signed late that might actually steal a spot on this roster, albeit I do think that they're going to rotate guys quite often in at that slot position. Still, that depth at cornerback is all of a sudden looking pretty disgusting. Okay, the pass rush with Khalil Mack, now Kyle Van Noy. Chris Rumph obviously will have a role on this team, I think, this season as a rotation guy too. And then Jamal Davis, who was added earlier this offseason. Their edge position is looking disgusting. Inside linebacker is looking serviceable with how the Chargers want to run this defense. Of course, you got Kyle Van Noy, who can play in that position as well. And then the defensive line, which may have been one of the more important aspects of fixing this offseason, looks very good as well. I think, Atito Agbonia is going to have some time this season to rotating in with Jerry Tillery. It looks very nasty. This team is ready, man. And again, I think these signings are insurance that the Chargers can and will make it far into the postseason, and a heavy indicator that this coaching staff, this front office, heavily believes that the Chargers could be Super Bowl contenders this season. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below of these signings. Let me know what you guys think as far as the Chargers grabbing a right tackle. Do you think it's too late? Do you think there's still some good guys out there? And how confident would you be in the Chargers if they are able to shore up that last position before going into the season in 2022? Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. Hit us up with a like and sub if you did enjoy this Chargers content. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty. Some solid move by the Chargers post-draft. Cannot wait for kickoff.